Hey everyone, welcome back to another One More Mini Podcast. This is going to be a very short video. I really want this more to be a conversation piece. Obviously from the title, this is definitely about Trump's wall. Just short and sweet to simplify it. I'll include some more information and articles you can read down in the description, but currently right now we're in the midst of a government shutdown because our president wants to spend $5.6 billion with a B on a wall and on border security. And so I think that is just completely ridiculous. All of the arguments I've seen so far in my own personal experiences have been mostly towards fear mongering and racism. And I just don't think that's a very smart or very sound reason why we need to build a giant wall on our ally Mexico. So just please, if you have any kind of other reasons other than fear mongering or racism, please tell me why you would support the wall. I'm just genuinely curious. I really don't understand, in my limited view that I have right now, why we would need such a thing. Personally, in my lifetime, I have not seen the need at all for any kind of advanced security or advanced protection or anything like that. There's an article that someone linked to me on Twitter and essentially went over 3 points why a wall would be needed. Not necessarily specifically within the US, but just in general, why would we need a wall? And just to summarize it, I'm going to put it in the description as well. But to summarize it really, it's because to establish our sovereignty over our surrounding nation. So, back in the 1600s and whatnot, and previously then, land was very, dynamic with who owns what, because there was no defined walls, or there was no defined borders, or there were no defined, it's very rough estimates. But we're in the 21st century and this is 2019, and I don't think we would need any kind of established presence of having some kind of, hey, we're the United States. I think that is just very silly. The other one as well is talking about protecting us from poor countries. So we border Mexico as our ally. We have been allies for God knows how long. And the point was essentially saying, if you're living in an area where your city is growth and prospering and all that kind of stuff, you'd want to have a wall or a border or secure protection so that you can essentially make sure your wealth doesn't get either attacked or invaded or whatever from an opposing side. Again, it's Mexico, so I don't think we have any problems with that. The third point was essentially just saying that people, to keep your religion and culture. And so we're suffering from a sense where you have one border and another border, and one country will essentially influence and go into a second country to convert or whatever. And I don't see that happening. I live in Texas, and sure, there's just kind of a cultural difference because of immigration, but I don't think it has become a severe catastrophe. I think having different cultures in our country and our states is fantastic. We as Americans have been a mixing pot for literally everything forever. So aside from the point. So I'm really genuinely curious about what you think, why we need a wall, why we don't need a wall. Like, seriously, let's have a conversation, because so real quick, there's a tweet right here. Mr. Trump said that we essentially were making progress in conversations about our wall and saying, now we've gone from concrete to steel. And okay, great. There's a little bit of progress, but that kind of worries me about the type of progress that we have, about the conversation that we're having. And I was going through that entire thread trying to find people and saying, anyone who was doing hashtag MAGA or build that wall or whatever, I responded and I said, what are your reasons and what are your thoughts on why we need a wall? Why do we need a wall? Just why? Because I think we've been for a very, very long time without the need of a wall for our protection. I think the security threat that we currently face, the security threat, I should say, is completely overblown. We don't have terrorists coming into America from Mexico directly trying to attack those border cities or border towns that we have. It's not like a location in Israel or potentially South Africa where you have more aggressive people bordering your country, and we don't have that in the United States. Also, I think one point to mention, there's a show called Adam Ruins Everything, and he essentially talks about how almost like 40% of people who are illegal immigrants in this country currently actually came through with valid visas that just expired. And they just stayed and they didn't do anything about it. So that's also a problem. People are coming here legally and then not being deported or not being, followed up on. That's a problem as well. There's just kind of sound conversations that we can have, and sort of just realistic conversations. Look, we're not here to yell, and we're not here to make fun of, and we're not here to one up you, and we're not here to gotcha or anything like that. This is just genuinely a conversation, because I just don't think it's the greatest thing to believe that we need a giant wall when that funding could go to so many other avenues. So, like, put it into the military. Like, we don't even need the quote unquote border security for $5.6 billion. We could easily devote that to more military, because I can tell you, if there was any kind of invasion, or if there's any kind of problem that we were having in Texas specifically, or any of the other border states, I can guarantee that our national military, or our state military, or any kind of local militia or anything would be right at that border defending us. So I really don't think having a security problem is a reason why we need to have the wall. As well, I think we have the point where, and I mentioned it earlier, is fear mongering. And I don't really want to super go into it, but I guess I will. Really, it's the idea that we are living in a time where you can say anything, and for the most part, you'll either get fact checked or you won't, and you're able to build kind of this premise, and you're able to build this identity, which makes people scared. So who's the boogeyman in this instance? Well, I think a lot of people are painting Mexico as the boogeyman for all of these problems. And I think people are painting other countries as like the reason why we need to do this, because we're afraid. That fear, that intensity, because humans are very emotional, whether it's anger, or it's depression, or it's happiness, whatever it is, we are very, very emotional. And I think it's very easy to tap into a sense of fear, and a sense of disgust, and kind of like the gross side of what makes us human. It's very easy to tap into that, and it's very easy to exploit it. I think people react very extremely, and especially when it comes to their safety and security. And again, I don't think that's a real thing. I think this is a kind of almost made-up concept that we're essentially trying to militarize the border, and I don't think we need to do that. I've lived in Texas all my life, and I've never once worried about our southern brethren coming in and attacking and killing everyone. That's not a thing. So if that's not an argument that you believe in, if you have other reasons why you think you should have a wall, tell me in the comments. Just like, seriously, I'm a little flustered, because I probably tweeted at a bunch of people, and I've only gotten like 1 or 2 responses, and it's just I don't know how else, because I don't want to be that guy that goes onto campus with a bullhorn to try and get people's attention, because that's not going to work. That isolates people, and that sets an immediate precedent where people may or may not give their full-hearted, honest opinion, because you've put yourself in a position saying, I'm this guy. They're going to react to you being this guy. They're not going to react to your idea. They're going to react to you being the guy. So I don't know any other way to go out and get that information from people. I don't know any other way to really start a conversation. I think that these podcasts and these mini episodes have been very great into at least commenting. There are a bunch of people who will always comment, and I love everyone who engages with these videos, and it's great. And I try as much as I can to really push the boundaries of what we're comfortable with. But seriously, like, tell me what is it that's on your mind about this wall? What is it about the government shutdown that you think will solve our problems, all of our problems, or a small part of our problems? Whatever it may be, just let me know. Tell me. Let's have a conversation, and let's talk, because frankly, I think a lot of people are just kind of plugging their ears and yelling and screaming without actually thinking. So again, no hate, no making fun of you, no sly comments, none of that. This is just a clear and open, honest to God conversation where we can discuss and potentially grow, learn, maybe change some minds, maybe not. But at least being informed is what we need to do. So I'm waiting, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and have a great day, night, or whenever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you, guys.